So this is the victimsofbillburr.
Burr's comedic persona is the loud, overconfident guy at the end of the bar. He fearlessly voices exactly what is on his mind, whether he is on daytime television or sitting across the table from you. However, Bill cannot be dismissed as some blue-collar loudmouth drunk. He is highly educated and will accurately expose your insecurities.
He's actually pretty funny.
These are some of the people
Funny than Theo Bond.
who have been trolled, intimidated, and dismantled by the gab of Bill Burr, starting with Theo Von, one of the sweetest and most beloved comedians who was robbed of his charm. In 2019,
What actually happened within
Theo Von
this?
invited Bill to be on his This Past Weekend podcast. At this point in his career, Theo was just starting to become a household name. However, Bill wasn't very familiar with his material nor his fan base, which set the conversation off to a weird start. Theo was a huge fan of Bill, and naturally started picking Bill's brain about the comedy and entertainment industry. So from the beginning, they established a hierarchy where Theo seems like an aspiring comic looking for advice.
I was just like experiencing like a ton of stress, man, burnt out. You know, I've been on the same tour for this hour for almost over a year now.
You gotta toughen up, man.
Yeah, you're right, huh?
You know?
What do I
Your
do, you think?
camouflage hat looking like a fucking backwoods guy, all tough and shit. You can't handle doing your hour again? I mean, come on, man.
Okay.
Suck it up.
Bill probably had a
Actually roasting him.
time relating to Theo's mental health struggles since he grew up around blue-collar Boston men who worked themselves into an early grave. Then again, this was just harmless ball-busting, but an early sign of what was about to come.
I just think I have a tough time working with other people sometimes, you know? I just think
Well, I would say get over that. Get over yourself and get over that, because there's a lot of great people in this business and you're gonna miss out.
That is true.
And I don't know.
No,
You know what?
And you
You'll
have to be adaptable, I guess.
say
like
your,
that.
your loved ones will save money on the funeral costs because no one's gonna go, so there's not gonna be too many snacks they gotta put together.
You could see Bill was about to be more serious with Theo, but then paused and decided to defer to a silly joke. That wouldn't last.
She'd have a rough day and she'd come in and
I don't remember the whole show.
I can explain it to you.
Yeah.
If I can explain it to
Okay,
you.
good.
This fucking guy just I don't know what that is. All right.
No, I believe it.
I'm not into it. I don't want to hear it. I got it. Your show. Go ahead.
All right, let's talk about old shows then.
Getting frustrated.
We don't have to. You made,
Patty Duke, what
you
about
made me
that?
feel
You
like
may should actually watch this podcast.
an asshole. Like that was the
That's what I
15th
really
time I
thought.
fucking brought it up.
Bill is becoming increasingly agitated with him, but Theo is making a huge mistake here. Theo is known for his airheaded yet poetic thoughts about life. He also speaks exactly what is on his mind, but it feels like the intrusive thoughts of someone with more heart than brains. Theo keeps switching in and out of being serious and being funny, making it difficult for Bill to riff with him. They both can't decide when the other person is making a joke or being serious, and by the end, Theo felt defeated, and Bill could sense it.
What about the nice guys? Oh, you got to see that.
I'll watch The Nice Guys.
No, I don't know. I think you're looking down. You got your
No, I'll
jaw
watch it.
out. You got your jaw. It's very
No.
confrontation. I'm feeling like you're not liking my suggestions. You just like you like the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. This
He's so
guy's dead to
goddamn-
me. He's dead to me.
This was like watching two guys having to hang out because their wives are friends. This is what it looks like when your two cool friends meet for the first time and don't hit it off like you thought. Bill said he had a great time, but fans provided empathy for Theo since they knew he is
surely.
humble and vulnerable. They could tell he was disappointed with himself, and Theo addressed the pod a few days later.
He was Bill Burr to a T. He's brash. He's poignant. He's exact. You know, he really is like a NASA, you know, like a rocket. You know, and I'm more like sometimes like Phil Armstrong.
glazing.
You know? You find me just kind of moseying around on the moon, you know, monitoring how I feel.
You see, Bill only gets serious when you make him. Sometimes it's better to just sit back and let him beat you up a little bit, like how Joe Rogan did after Bill absolutely dismantled him.
Want people to walk down the street with a mask on?
Let's not
Here
start this.
comes.
Do you, though? Let's not start this.
But before Rogan gets humbled by Bill, a quick word from our sponsor, Aura. Are you tired of receiving those spam calls?
No medical degree, listening to you with no medical degree, with an American flag behind you, smoking a cigar, acting like we know what's up.
Okay.
I just love how wearing a mask became like this
Actually roasted him.
like soft thing that you were doing, like
Yeah,
being
it's for
courteous. Being courteous. Why is it for bitches? That was so
You're wearing a
stupid.
mask. First of all, it's
Oh
not-
God, you're so tough with your open nose and throat. Gee, Joe, and your 5 o'clock shadow. This is a man right here. A man doesn't wear a mask.
But this wasn't the only time Joe just gave up after Bill roasted him.
Does it make you more aggressive?
What?
The one.
No, Joe, you lunatic. somebody gets in my face, that might cause me to get more lunatic. I eat a little bit of protein. You
Yeah,
had
not air mid again.
to beat the fuck out of people for like 3 decades before you could like chill, smoke a little weed, put on your Little Rascals hat, and just fucking chill out. You don't understand. I love him to death. But this guy is the most testosterone filled dude I've ever met. That's why I love him. I love him.
Notice how Bill reaffirms that he loves Joe despite him being the butt of the joke. He often reminds people it's okay to laugh at themselves. Making fun is his way of showing love towards someone. A perfect example of this is Bill's endless jokes towards Colin Cowherd, who hosted a sports radio show on ESPN. Him and Bill are great friends, which is why Colin knows to just laugh when Bill is sending shots his way.
A lot of people think that they're uncomfortable with my elevation. Are you uncomfortable with it?
No, I just see all of your insecurities.
Your giant desk.
When guys come and sit on the couch, I go right after them. Don't you respect me for that?
No, I don't. Your big dumb desk
No.
hiding behind your microphone.
And don't even think about asking Bill a dumb question.
You're in
Yeah.
your comedy prime right now. Like this is you got about 8 years left.
How do you judge that?
Because your energy level is high. You're nimble. I mean, dude.
And what do you do? I'm not like an athlete. I'm gonna blow out an Achilles and I can't write a joke anymore.
Like I said, Colin knows how to laugh it off and remain in good spirits. But some people think Bill is actually the insecure one. Sometimes a harmless question is asked
No,
and Bill is the
sorry.
one who takes it the wrong way.
Bill, are you the head writer on the show, or how do you work in the writers' room on the show? Because you write your stand-up specials, you know, obviously you're a writer, but you've never really written on a sitcom before. If you go through your credits, you hadn't really been on a show before.
Why'd you have to bring that up? Just right out of the gate, he goes negative. Never really saw you write on anything before, Bill. There was all these other nice things on your IMDb page I could have brought up, but I noticed this one glaring thing that you've never done.
Sure, maybe the interviewer could have rephrased the question to, how different is writing comedy on a show versus on stage? It was pretty clear this guy was not
You're asking a question.
trying to offend him. The same thing can be said about this interviewer.
You're in the Emily Fan Cave hanging out with actor-comedian Bill Burr.
I like that you said actor-comedian.
Well, you're an
I
actor,
usually go
comedian.
comedian-actor. Look, dude, if you saw my IMDb page, you'd definitely know it was comedian-actor. Yeah, it's a quick read.
After all, Bill admits himself that he had a hard time understanding people's intentions throughout his whole life, which usually led to anger or jokes. If someone was really
What is this picture?
nice, I would just be like, get away from me. If someone was an asshole, it's like, oh, that seems familiar. For whatever reason, I don't like being complimented. Well, fortunately for Bill, he didn't have to worry about being complimented on this next one, because he made enemies with the entire city of Philadelphia after they relentlessly booed him during his set. While Bill was developing as a comedian in the 90s and early 2000s, he gained some notoriety on Comedy Central Presents and through regular appearances in The Chappelle Show. But many attribute a large jump in Bill's popularity to the Opie and Anthony radio show, where he's regularly been a guest over the years. In 2006, many Opie and Anthony show regulars were on the Traveling Virus Comedy Tour, such as Tracy Morgan, Bob Saget, Ralphie May, and Patrice O'Neal, to name a few. The tour was very successful, with the second show in the lineup breaking Jay Leno's record for the most tickets sold for a comedy show at New Jersey's PNC Bank Arts Center. However, the third show in Camden, New Jersey, just across the Delaware River from Philadelphia, didn't go nearly as well. The drunk and unruly Philly crowd on a hot afternoon outdoor show set the tone by booing the opening act off stage. They'd continued to behave poorly and on the verge of booing the rest of the night, as those who had yet to perform were dreading their set. Tracy Morgan gave up 7 minutes into a 20-minute set. Bob Saget and Patrice O'Neal did well, but Bill wasn't having it with this crowd. He got defensive on behalf of his comedian friends, which led to an all-out roast session from the beginning.
Oh, f*** all you people. You know what, you f***ing losers? I hope you all and I hope the f***ing Eagles never win the Super Bowl. Go f*** yourself.
Oh yeah, he wasn't holding back.
Okay.
Let's talk about heart disease, something you're all gonna f*** of, and I'm gonna laugh at your f***ing funerals. It's gonna be great.
It's getting too far on this one, jeez.
Cancer, which is fantastic because all your f***ing heads are shaved anyways. No one's even gonna notice.
If you can believe it, it gets so much worse. Every minute that goes by, he decimates every possible thing about Philadelphia. He says if there was a terrorist attack on Philly, nobody would care.
Rocky is your hero. The whole pride of your city is built around a f***ing guy who doesn't even exist.
A man interrupts him from the crowd. Bill responds.
Okay, good
What do you
one.
have to say, sir? Never passed the f***ing 8th grade. What brilliant shit are you gonna f***ing tell me, huh? Go back to the dock and go unload some shit. You warehouse working, weed smoking, disappointment for your mother.
Obviously, most people were offended, but others started to respect his determination to fight an entire crowd of angry people.
7 minutes left. 7 motherfucking minutes left. And I'm doing all f***ing 7.
As the minutes count down, the insults progressively get more bleak, until the end where he says he
Even more.
wishes he had a weapon to use on every single person in the crowd, and in some backwards twist of fate, they loved it, and cheered for him as he quadrupled down on his hatred towards them while walking off stage.
Actual Black Mirror episode natin.
Listen, I'm out of time. You guys were here, man. Thank you very much. All of you go f*** yourselves in your own assholes. Have a good night.
Bill single-handedly destroyed everything the city of Philadelphia loves, and they cheered for him as he left the stage. This rant made national headlines. Bill's fame leveled up immensely, but he claims it didn't help him sell more tickets. It definitely stamped his persona of being an unruly jerk with a short temper that will say literally anything that is on his mind. In retrospect, Bill believes he was unprofessional and threw gas on the Philly crowd fire. He doesn't regret it,
He's being honest, right?
but he never wanted
I
people
don't
to
know.
think that he is just a shock jock with a loud mouth. He spent the next decade proving to the world that he is actually an artistic comedian who is just a tad bit savage at times. And he did his best trying to be sensitive during his interview with Ethan Klein, but eventually he ran out of patience. Ethan Klein is one half of the H3H3 duo with his wife Hila. Ethan developed a reputation on YouTube over the years for being a hilarious reaction channel. He created iconic skits and bits that are worthy of being considered YouTube Hall of Fame. In short, people thought he was funny. But while sitting across from a comic legend on the H3 podcast, Ethan was nervous.
You know what I mean? If you went to whatever Comic-Con of podcasting, would you be nervous?
Yes.
All right. Well, you're an apprehensive person.
I'm so neurotic. I am nervous. I'm nervous right now.
Okay.
Very nervous.
I don't think that's going to help.
How do you?
Despite this, Ethan remained pretty smooth for the first hour, but he would interrupt Bill a lot.
I mean, he's doing this. I mean, how much? What does that do? You need.
So you got this kicked out of you for a while.
So it's OCD.
You're kind of looking. Oh, yours? Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to diagnose you. I have no idea.
You could tell Bill was getting increasingly more frustrated when he would be trying to answer a question, then Ethan would just say, right,
When is the rent coming?
and try to finish his answer for him. However, things got really awkward when Ethan started pressing a question that Bill did not want to answer.
It seems like you're in love with your daughter, hearing you talk about her on the podcast.
Jesus Christ. Well, you're pretty perceptive. It seems like you care about your own.
It's just kind of weird topic.
Listen.
You also had a zillion kids, so I mean, yeah.
Really? How many siblings do you have?
I don't know, dude. The internet's too fucking weird to give out all that information.
Oh, you don't even want to say how many because you're afraid that it will
Yeah, by all means,
compromise your
keep talking
privacy.
about it. Is there any way you can cut this out? I'm honest, dude. Like,
seriously?
Yeah, no, dude. Yeah, there's fucking lunatics out there.
Okay.
Whoa.
Off the air, I'll cut it.
All right.
Jesus.
Okay.
I love how surprised he is. Jesus.
Well, you can mention the amount.
There's absolutely crazy people out there.
Yeah.
If someone doesn't want to answer a question, a good podcaster would probably
Yeah,
just skip
I keep pushing it. What the?
right over it and move on. To give Ethan the benefit of the doubt, he was still pretty new to podcasting. Ethan clearly thought Bill's reasoning for not answering the question was silly, but some people genuinely take their privacy seriously. Ethan saying, geez, comes off extremely childish and will make someone with a short temper blow a fuse. Bill held it together for the most part, but his patience was running out.
When you were getting booed by thousands of people in Philly.
I was like, when you said my favorite YouTube video, I was like, oh God, not the Philly thing again. And then you did the Sherry's Berries. I was like, I love this podcast. Now I hate you.
Oh no.
I love. What can I do? I love that.
I'm joking. I'm fucking with you. Go ahead, let's do it.
Oh, no.
But do you? But no, I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna ask you.
You've been booed before.
You've talked about this a lot.
Yeah, probably more than the grape lady.
It's just getting awkward.
I didn't realize.
No, but go ahead. Let's do it.
Well,
Let's
now
do it.
I frankly,
I like making you. I like making you.
skip it.
I like making you uncomfortable.
Again, this subject was something Bill did not want to talk about, and when he called Ethan out on it, Ethan got defensive. Nevertheless, Bill talked about the Philly incident, and he wasn't happy about it.
Well, I love that moment. I love everything you do. The great.
This is how you turn it around. This is how you turn it around.
Well,
Made you uncomfortable.
Here comes the but
I almost made it through without making an ass of myself. I got so close.
What are you talking about? I had a great time.
I did too. I really did.
I hope you did. I'm worried about you.
I did.
Thank God you got.
I'm playing it up. I'm playing it up.
All right.
But I'm trying to be funny, but
This was just an hour of Bill Burr shattering Ethan's ego when an online joker meets a real comedian. This situation was very similar to the Theo Von episode. On the surface,
Okay, to chill out.
these awkward podcasts with Ethan and Theo seem harmless. Bill is just being himself and ends both pods saying he had a great time. But it negatively affected Ethan more than you'd imagine. Many people called Ethan too sensitive.
And after that episode with Bill Burr, I came home, and that's when I started taking antidepressants, and I went to therapy.
Wow.
It was soul crushing. It felt like a rock bottom for me, because I was having a hard time with the podcast and interviews in general, and that for me was just kind of like the culmination of a lot of stress.
And that this was a reality check considering all the people he had made fun of over the years. But Ethan had Bill back 1 year later, and it went great. However, there was one time where it seemed like Bill was the one who was genuinely uncomfortable around an interviewer. A small production called Southside Steve TV on 100.5 Rock Radio interviewed Bill in 2008. Bill was immediately put off by the man's weird style and country attire, sizing him up immediately. Steve made a critical error, asking a comedian to tell a joke during an interview.
So I figure I toss you a mic and you go.
And I'm going to do stand-up in front of 9 people in a radio station? No, I'm not doing that.
Well, you're taking the fun out of Southside Steve TV.
I'll take, how about I give you $5 and I want to watch you line dance in your I'm a racist cowboy.
I don't know how to line dance, dude.
Okay.
It's hard to tell whether Southside Steve is just a character or if he actually is just obnoxious and clueless.
Okay.
Are you a racist?
No, I'm not a racist.
But Bill always makes sure to get a few jabs in.
You know what he looks like? He looks like the first guy who gets his ass kicked in a Steven Seagal movie.
Bill jokingly said that this was the worst interview he has ever done. And in true Bill fashion, he did an interview years later and bonded with the man.
That last video we did, a lot of people
That's
felt
good, I
like
guess.
I was seriously upset with you.
No.
At least on YouTube. I can't believe that
I
there's
can't
morons on YouTube that didn't believe that.
Yeah, surely the
I was having a good time.
You think that we're not friends? You think we don't walk away from this
Yeah.
and hug it out? I like
Exactly.
this guy.
Just because he has a NASCAR accent and I sound like some prick from Boston,
Exactly.
doesn't mean we can't find a common ground.
Yet despite all of Bill's roasts, jokes, laughing at people, he hates when people make fun of comedians. Kill Tony is a live comedy show that takes place every week in Austin, Texas. The show is hosted by comedians Tony Hinchcliffe and Brian Redband, who invite a celebrity guest, which is typically famous comedians, to join their panel. The premise of the show is simple: invite aspiring comedians on stage to do a 1-minute set, then roast them for how bad they are in front of a live crowd. For some people, it's their first time doing comedy. Others have been doing it for a few years. And as you can imagine, most
roasting newcomers just kind of weird.
of these sets are boring, unfunny, lacking structure, and result in awkward, loud silences from the crowd. Everyone participating in the show understands the structure, and they look at it as constructive criticism for the comedian. Theoretically, it will make them better and let them develop thicker
I
skin.
guess,
However,
but-
when Bill came on the show, he wasn't familiar with the format, and after the first guest, he hated it.
Just compliment someone, put it in the context of a joke, and an idiot will make a fool of himself. Sorry. Boo.
Sorry.
How much time do I have left?
Wow, it's a really casual set for you, huh? Maybe not.
You would
I
have
mean,
picked one guy. You would have done that. We were shitting on him. He thought it would work. It didn't work.
Yeah.
This is fucking brutal. Is this going to be an hour of this? I don't want to do this to people. It's fucking horrible. Nobody can be funny in a fucking minute. It's
Oh, yeah.
stupid.
Oh, no, it happens.
Fucking 2 seconds.
Oh, it happens a lot. Jesse just took a real bullet
No, fuck
there.
this. You don't even...
The actual bass right there.
Fuck this. This is stupid. It's stupid. You're fine. You're fine.
Bill quickly tried to console the guy and shifted the negativity and jokes towards Tony.
There's one more, and then I'm out. All right? There's another one, mean, just to be fucking mean. I'm not doing this for fucking... trying to bring it up here.
I love it. Jesse, you did so bad, one of our guests is about to quit. I don't know what else to tell you.
Oh, if there's a negative lining, Tony will find it. There it is, right between the ray of sunshine. There's that little nugget of negativity. You fucking
yeah.
Smarmy fucking
Then Bill
Actually, it was dead.
was trying to give genuine advice to the comics.
Yeah, I would just say, just slow down a little bit.
Okay.
Slow down a little bit, and just the more you do your jokes, the more they'll come off natural. I would just slow down a little bit.
Okay. Cool.
That's it. It's not a threat. It's just,
But when one of the aspiring comics actually had a good set, Bill decided to give him a few jabs.
Like what's the government?
This
worried
dude's a
about you?
fucking psycho, man. This guy is gonna get his own show, and he's gonna be a fucking lunatic. Like, he has no remorse,
It's a compliment, I guess. That's
no
nice.
guilt, no fucking responsibility for your own actions. You're fucking
Maybe you just edited out others' constructive criticism, I guess.
dirtbag, man.
For the next hour, Bill barely said anything. You could tell he didn't like the format and just kind of sat painstakingly through the entire show. Now 7 years later, Kill Tony is at its peak. They are more popular than ever and have had a broad range of massive celebrities come on, yet Bill Burr never returned. Although at times he is aggressive, intimidating, and quick to reveal uncomfortable truths,
This is
his
not
jokes
his
are a sign
time.
of showing love. He's actually a sensitive guy who just wants people to
It's
be the
up
best
and then
version
the
of themselves.
very good video, I guess.